Let's talk about age segregation and multi-age classrooms in education. And we're not talking about like a grade 4-5 split because that's pretty common. I'm talking about let's get 6 to 10-year-olds in a classroom learning the same things because of their intellectual abilities or they have a common interest. This would do away with the term of grade level, and this would focus more on their abilities and how long it takes them to master the skill. This means that students could move around classrooms throughout the year, potentially, depending on how well they learn the skill. And this would be more like stages than grades. Sandra Stone sheds light on this by stating there are no grade levels, no grade level expectations, no letter grades for the purpose of labeling, and there's no retention in grade. The focus is giving every child an opportunity to find success and become a lifelong learner. So I believe that students should not be segregated simply by age. I believe that they should be segregated by intellectual skill and or common interest. And I have 3 points to back this up. Segregating students by age does not allow for development of a community of learners, where younger students can gain knowledge and experience from older students, and older students can be given opportunities to mentor, learn, and develop leadership skills. Past educators, i.e. Horace Mann in 1834, decided to take on the idea of the assembly line and apply it to education. This is currently the system we're on today, of students segregated by their age and class, all packaged up and ready to go. While this may be easier organizationally for administrators and school boards, it most certainly isn't for students or teachers, especially when it is likely some students may fall behind or want to work ahead. According to Daniel Lettier in September 2016, age segregation assumes a uniform process of intellectual development that simply doesn't exist in reality. Uniform being the key word here. The assembly line was uniform. It made uniform products that were all the same. Is that really what we want of our students? All of them being the same? I thought we were supposed to be supporting inclusivity and diversity. Vygotsky and Piaget, two prominent educational theorists, both agree that students require collaboration and peer modeling to occur for the older students to develop their nurturing skills, something we need more of. Leon Neyfakh states in 2014 that on some level, age segregation makes sense. People of different ages do tend to want some different things. College students want to stay up late, pair off, and older seniors understandably crave peace and quiet. I think that many of us have experienced that, but if it weren't for other people who are older or younger, how were we supposed to know that that's what the specific age group liked to do? You probably saw a behavior from an older or younger peer and decided to emulate that. And to add, by desegregating students, it is in no way saying that they cannot hang out with other peers their own age. Furthermore, there has been an organization around since about 1979 called the Intergenerational Center at Temple University that has successfully integrated the youth and geriatrics of society into a functional community that learns from each other and harbors no ill will, like we usually see. They have begun embedding specialists in communities around the country to help systematically bring together different age groups and now have 23 pilot programs in 8 different states. On top of that, the center has 4 different supportive programs: supporting children and youth, fostering immigrant integration, helping caregiving families, and building community capacity. So, supporting children and youth. This helps literacy, combats childhood obesity, and enhances math and science skills. Fostering immigrant integration creates relationships between college students and the elderly, promoting workforce development. Helping caregiving families pairs older adults and college students to support parents raising children with diverse needs and for caregiving the elderly. Building community capacity helps communities enhance the capacity of individuals and organizations working together to improve quality of life. Allowing students of all ages to pursue an educational path that supports their interests as opposed to a standardized curriculum within a community of like-minded peers would foster deeper knowledge on the chosen subjects and create a pathway to future career developments. One of the ideas that really rang true for me was that children and students should be immersed in an environment that allows them to dig into their curiosity in the moment they feel interest for a particular subject, and not in a one-fit-for-all 15-year-long plan. I agree with that wholeheartedly. That being said, I do understand the point of taking 12 subjects a year that may have little relevance to your future, to expose students to a wide range of topics, mostly because the government wanted well-rounded students. They wanted education for students to help prepare them for more than just a job, but it should be for acquiring the knowledge, skills, competencies values, dispositions, and capacities for many life roles in a world of inevitable change. While these objectives could be attempted to be achieved with the current education system, they could also be enforced by other students with varying experiences, like in a multi-age classroom, for example. Employers nowadays are looking for students with a variety of background knowledges, but they're also looking for people with more experience in their chosen field, deeper knowledge than the norm. Not to mention, no one wants to take a chance anymore. Society has spent so long bubble wrapping their children, like keeping them out of the Industrial Revolution, to modifying traffic circles. Like, come on, are they that hard? That we've lost the point and meaning of education. The point of education is to help students learn and ensure that they are grasping the basics, even going so far as to challenge them. But if there are students in all different grades that are performing at the same level intellectually, then why can't we group them together? They all have different experiences and therefore have a lot to gain from one another. Mixed age interactions can provide the younger children in the interaction with opportunities to develop help-seeking behaviors and with the chance to observe and imitate older role models. On the flip side, it's been proven that older children in the interaction develop more nurturing traits, which is something the world could use more of. The older student, when given the chance to teach a skill to younger children, will learn the skill better themselves. Sometimes this is implemented in the way of tutoring or reading buddies. Those interactions are so brief that the younger student doesn't remember what happens in years to come. When children are out of school, they realize that the world is not comprised of them working with just their generation, so why do we give them a false sense of homogenous adulthood in their youth? I think it's a good idea to ease children into life, but I think they would learn more and even gain more independency if they were educated in a mixed-age classroom. Segregating students based on intellectual or skill development, i.e. ability grouping, would increase the pace at which material is taught. It would give students more individual attention without teachers having to focus on those who cannot keep pace. This would also boost the students' confidence and they wouldn't fall behind their peers. There's sufficient research that shows that age mixing in schools could affect the adolescents' friendship pattern, their perceptions of their own competency, their popularity, and their mixed-sex friendships, but all are pretty positive. Furthermore, it's largely agreed upon that children do not develop cognitively or emotionally at the same rate, and certain parents may believe that their children could benefit from starting schooling earlier or later. While the previous quote still deals with age segregation as its base, it would be beneficial for parents to decide if their child is ready to start or continue with school. It could be based on tests, but also behavioral factors as well. Additionally, it's been proven that students who are in multi-age classrooms perform better than their peers who are in age-segregated classrooms. There's an article that states that interaction between individuals at different levels of maturity will stimulate disequilibrium, equilibration, and cognitive growth in the less mature partner. The article went on to mention that the youngest students in the multi-age classroom consistently outperform their peers in age-segregated classroom. Something that is worth looking into is how we compare students into multi-age classrooms. Some schools have allowed students to sort themselves into groups according to their own interest, and most research shows that such schools improve student achievement. In a long-term research project done in Britain in 2000, it was discovered that when students who were used to being in multi-ability classrooms were placed in age-segregated classrooms, their marks and motivation dropped significantly, especially between grades 8 and 9. The study was set over numerous schools, both mixed ability and age-segregated, and the students involved in the test were interviewed and given questionnaires throughout their time participating in the experiment. One of the major results that was brought forward is that 40 of the 48 students interviewed from setted groups wanted to return to mixed age classrooms. Many researchers found that this could affect the students on the contrary. They believe that putting students in mixed-age classrooms would hinder their developing self-esteem, as well as create a disassociation between the younger and older generations. An example is given by Patricia Hawk in her article, Great Grade Level Debate, Age versus Ability, that states, if a student is 14 and in a senior classroom with all 18-year-olds because of the way they placed in subject tests, their maturity level is entirely different and won't mesh well with the older kids. They may feel left out of their peers' invitations to birthday parties because they're too young and feel discouraged. Kids that are 18 and stuck in classrooms with 14-year-olds because of their abilities may not feel worthy and stupid as well. While this is a valid argument, there has been enough research that would support the opposite. Having peers work in a mixed-age classroom does speed up the maturity process, and just because a 14-year-old is in the same class as an 18-year-old, again, doesn't mean that they can't make friends with other students in other grades. When children and adolescents find themselves in a mixed-age context, they associate and make friends across a relatively wide age range. In a study of adolescents outside school in Salt Lake City, it was found that 31% of companions were other adolescents more than 2 years older or younger. While these examples may only illustrate a 2-year difference and the presented con illustrates a 4-year age gap, there is still proof that students don't actually mind having friends that are older or younger. There's much to be gained from having friends from different backgrounds who have different experiences than you. Having to go through the same grade with the same people for 7 years create monotony, and that monotony furthermore has the capability to hinder the student's ability to grasp how to deal with different people, and then therefore reduces the rate of maturity. Furthermore, Stone mentions that the multi-age class promotes a risk-free, supportive, nurturing environment where every child is valued. The article goes on to say that children who feel successful about their academic and social competencies do better in school and have more friends. And success increases the probability that a child will develop a positive self-image and self-esteem. All in all, the subject of age segregation in education is contentious and needs to be looked into further, and more tests and experiments need to be done. How do we create a curriculum for this? How do we need to train teachers to adapt to this? Will peer teaching occur more? What about the students who just don't seem to be going anywhere? How will IEPs work, or will that change? Introducing multi-age classrooms benefits students' mental health, their ability to learn and progress, as well as their grades. It would be better to say that they understand the material better and will be able to apply their knowledge better. However, we really do need to look at the logistics of it again to gain a better understanding and develop a working model.